All right, let's try this whole video again with the camera actually on. Hello, this is hello. Welcome to Pulp Herb Reads. I'm Herb, and here we talk about what I'm reading, what I have read, what I plan on reading, basically anything to do with my reading life, uh, in hopes of helping you find things you want to read and helping me find people who read the same things I do. Today we're going to talk about the first two books I've read for Garb August. And then I'm going to talk about the next two I'm planning, plus an anthology that's going to be in my daily rotation. So the first book I read for Garb August, and until yesterday I thought it was going to be the only one I had to talk about today, is The Monkey King by by Catherine Wesley. I always want to say something else. This is a Hallmark movie novelization. Actually, I think it was a Hallmark miniseries, even better. So, if you think about the parameters of Garb August, trashy fictions, media tie-in, of course, is one of them. And I think you get extra points for the media tie-in being from the Hallmark Channel. Uh, Back cover text. Imagine a mystical land where anything can happen, and that's just the beginning. Nicholas Orton is a scholar with a theory about the Chinese legend of the Monkey King, a mischievous god who is half monkey, half man. Now Nick has a chance to put his theory to the test when he meets a beautiful, mysterious woman and finds himself transported to a magical world far from his own, a land where his knowledge is very dangerous. For Nick knows of an ancient lost text that could inspire a land to fight for freedom. Finding it will take an open mind, an open heart, and a faith greater than he's ever known. This is a Hallmark movie. Always is a Hallmark movie. Uh, so don't expect a lot of character depth. I don't know how good the Chinese myth or fiction is. I mean, it does talk about Journey of the West, which is where Monkey King shows up, but I don't know a lot of details about it. That's a hole that I probably need to work on in my knowledge, but there it is. It was a fun read. It I found it in what I now call the room of Garb August. It's the big discount room at my local paperback exchange. You'll find these with the four Sharpie markers, and they're like I think they used to be $1.25. Now they're $1.50. But it's a great place to find Garb August literature. In fact, we'll see that in another book here. I there, like I said, there's not great character development because it's a Hallmark movie, and I was a little disappointed in the ending in that he both gives up the girl to save the world and gets the girl anyway in a little hinky to me way. Uh, Not a huge, moral dilemma. Just I don't really like it per se. Uh, but it has a couple of fun bits. It plays on the fact that the empire was very bureaucratic, as we all know with the Mandarin exams and all that. So at one point, the bad guys are about to be defeated. The uh, Nick and the Monkey King and their two companions are beating them back in a room that's filling with water, and they're about to defeat them. And a messenger from the Jade Emperor shows up and stops the fighting because the bad guys have sued in the imperial courts to end the fight and win. And the book actually does that. There's actually a trial. There's a couple of trial scenes, and just some very fun and interesting stuff. Uh, I will not be keeping this. This will be going to a little library this week or the book exchange at work. But even with that said, this was a fun book. Uh, don't pay more than buck and a half for it. But if you're just looking for some lighthearted adventure, it's a good book. Much better is the second book I had online for Garb August. I started this, uh, and I didn't think I'd have it done until tomorrow or Monday. I got done yesterday because I was halfway through the book, and when I picked it up yesterday, I was already halfway through it, and I got so enthralled by the second half, I just ran right through it. And that is the Sorcerer's Skull, The Sorcerer's Skull by Dave Mason. Beyond the no lands lay terror. It was strange country that across the western seas, and sensible men would avoid it as tough the waters of the seas themselves were bearers of the plague. Doesn't make quite sense. But Owen of Mardale was not an ordinary, excuse me, but Owen of Mardale was not an ordinary man. nor even an ordinary thief, though he made his living through the art of stealing. Still, once he made the mistake of saving his life by accepting the favor of the sorcerer, and the favors of such do not come cheap. When in debt to a sorcerer, the debt must be discharged, no matter what the elements of hell are released along the way. They need a header for the back text. This is a Wildside publication. It is a reprint of an old Lancer book that I originally learned about from the channel Pulp Mortem. He did it at the end of his Fantasy February when I discovered his channel in May. I went back and listened to stuff, and I very, very vividly remember when I listened to the review of this. It was driving home from MomoCon on MomoCon Sunday, Memorial Day weekend. And I said, I have to get this. I came home. I ordered this Wildside reprint, and it was everything you wanted. Why is it a Garbongus book? Well, for one, it's a sword and sorcery story named The Sorcerer's Skull. Come on. But if that's not enough for you, and without giving too many spoilers, at one point, the titular Sorcerer's Skull, which is in a box being transported by Owen, that's the favor he owes the sorceress to transport the Sorcerer's Skull, which does not make sense for most of the book and then does towards the end, gets out of the box and starts eating sailors at night. That might seem like a spoiler, and it does happen well into the book, but you know what? It'll get you to read it because it got me to read it. So if you have taste like mine, it will definitely get you to read it. And it gives away absolutely nothing. It even confuses things more. The basic setup is Owen and his partner in crime are fleeing from having robbed some monks of some magical texts as well as some jewelry and such. And they're being pursued by a conjured magical monster that they're not going to be able to defeat. All of a sudden, the monster bursts into flame, disappears, and the projection of the sorcerer, who is several days away and is scrying what's happening to him because he's already decided Owen is his man, says, meet me in 5 days to pay back the bargain that you've made by accepting me saving your life. And by the way, Owen, those weird dreams that are obsessing you, you will get explained once you complete my task. That will be part of the fulfillment of my task, because Owen, you learn, has been having these very obsessive and weird dreams. Along the way, they pick up a Queen of the Rom who is somehow linked to Owen, which she doesn't understand and he doesn't believe. And they're given a box containing the Sorcerer's Skull, which you know that the whole time. When the Sorcerer's Apprentice shows up, says, okay, you're on the ship, here's the task, here's a box. They're like, what's in it? It's the skull of my master. I did not see where this was going. The skull started eating sailors, and I was really confused. Then they land, and at the place I got across to another sea, it was a wild ride. It was fun. It kept me up until 3 last night to finish this book. I'm a slow reader. If you like swords and sorcery, if you like pulpy stories, you will like this. I really recommend this. This is getting saved. I will link to Pulp Mortem's review of it. He talks more about some of the stuff that I'm going to. He goes in depth on all his books and the author and thing. But I really recommend this. This is a perfect Garbongus book. If you haven't started Garbongus or you realize you're going to run out of time, find this. The old Lancer copy can be found out there. It is, however, it has a reputation, and apparently it's true about old Lancer paperbacks. I did not know this, that they use the cheapest glue known to man, and they fall apart. This, like I said, this is a reprint by Wildside in the past 10 or so years, maybe 15. Let's take a look. This is, actually over 20, 1999, but it's still available on Amazon. I highly recommend it. It's not the most inexpensive book in the world, but given the reputation of Lancer, you'll probably pay collector's prices anyway. Get this book. Get this book and read it. Like I said, this won't be saved while the other is going to the library. All right. Next up for Garbongus, I'll be starting this today, Fucklin's Gambit by Bob Langley. The American Who Knew Too Much, February 1982. From the moment American David Riker impulsively befriends a fugitive named Colonel Hugh Pinilla on a night bus traveling in rural Argentina, he becomes an object of special interest to the secret police. But it is not until he meets attractive Anne Danby that Riker begins to understand the importance of Pinilla and why his shocking plan must be stopped. Riker is also drawn into an association with millionaire Magus Stone and an assassin from the Argentine army named Segunda. But here in the place at this time, associations are meant to be broken, and innocent Americans don't live very long unless they move quickly. Riker's rapid descent into danger takes him from cosmopolitan Buenos Aires to a hidden Arctic death camp, and finally to a desperate showdown on a windswept Falklands beach as war explodes and is heard around the world. Typical Men's Adventure, also from the Room of Garbagus, the Room of Trashy Fiction at the Book Nook in Decatur. I picked this up specifically for this year's, and I'm looking forward to this. This seems like fun. Plus, the Falklands War is something I'm a bit interested in. I'm old enough to actually remember it, so we'll go. And this will follow that. The Warrior Within by Sharon Green. Slave Girl assignment for a terrorist top operative. She was one of Earth's most valued primes, a brilliant and highly trained operative with a special talent for predicting accurately the thoughts and actions of others. He was a barbarian chief from a raw and primitive planet, wise only in the ways of warfare and the schemes of clan domination. His world had become a much-needed key to Earth's space enterprises, and he was prepared to make a deal if the Star People could help him win supreme power. So she was assigned to him. But the only way she could fulfill her mission was in the full native tradition. She must be locked in the 5 banded chains of a warrior's slave girl and live the role to the full. And here is proof that this is a Garbagus book. If you like John Norman, you will like Sharon Green. That's right, this is being marketed to fans of gore, and if gore isn't Garbagus, I don't know what is. For those who don't know John Norman or gore, just look it up on Wikipedia. You'll get a deal. It gets a lot of hate online for its content, which in the 70s maybe, although you could buy it at the grocery store. I remember seeing it at Safeway. But today I'm like, this is nothing. But we'll talk about that more when we get to reviewing this book. And finally, if you've watched one of my older videos on Bradbury reading, you know I try to read a short story a day. I'm finishing up an anthology called Plasma Pulp Lost Worlds, which is very Garbagusty, but will probably not get covered on the channel. It's from a long-running series of anthologies by Raconteur Press. Well, not long-running, numerous. I think the oldest is only 3 or 4 years old, and there's over 70. But I've been reading several of those, and I want to talk about all the ones I've read in one video, so that'll probably be after Garbagus. But coming up this week, when I finish Plasma Pulp, we will go to Tales from the Magician's Skull. So we have a Sorcerer's Skull, we have a Magician's Skull. This is a swords and sorcery pulp magazine that was started by Goodman Games, who make a very sword and sorcery variant of D&D called Dungeon Crawl Classics, which character creation is you create 4 characters, one's going to die, to give you an idea of the kind of feel they're going for. And they decided to make a pulp magazine and new sword and sorcery short stories. This is number 10. They published 12, then they sold it. The new publisher has published 2 more numbered issues and 2 special issues. I will link that as well as the Sorcerer's Skull and the Pulp Mortem review of it down below, like I said. So these are going to be my short stories when I'm done with Plasma Pulp. I probably won't talk about it next Sunday. It'll probably be a week from that because there's 10 tales at one a day. It'll take me a little over a week to finish it. I have a few left in the other one. But I'm really looking forward to this. Again, I don't think I need to justify why this qualifies as trashy fiction. We'll just look at the back. In this issue, The Demon Rats by C.L. Werner. The thing lifted its head, strips of paper hanging from its iron fangs. Only for a moment did its beady red eyes return the samurai's furious stare. Then the gleaming steel of the sword was flashing towards it. Da Cogna and the Blood Scourge by W.J. Lewis. She held him to her, heard his last bubbling gurgles as 1 arrow, 2, 3, thumped into his back. She threw the corpse shield aside and sprang away. That one's going to be fun. The Sorcerer's Mask by Jason Ray Carney. What is this with the Sorcerer Magician's thing? We got a couple of skulls and now a mask. The rogue came to Chell on a secret errand. It did not concern Lech, but the rogue's innocence did not matter either. For the moment the rogue crossed the threshold of the portcullis into the gatehouse, the sorcerer's spies, unseen as cockroaches, shadowed and scampered after the rogue. Again, these are going to be fun. I can't imagine they're not. And that's my wrap up for the first 9 days, a little over a week of Garb August. I will be back next Sunday with a report, certainly on Falkland's Gambit, maybe on The Warrior Within, and we'll add another the next TVA, so we keep a couple ahead. I had 5 books originally planned for Garb August. If I finish these 2 and the next one as fast as I finish the others, I'm going to have to add a couple more to the queue, but I have at least one more that I'm going to say qualifies. But until then, thank you for listening to me talk about what I've read. I hope I've inspired you to read something, especially I hope I've inspired you to read The Sorcerer's Skull, if nothing else that I've put up. And until next week, good reading.